Well, President Biden and Democrats are pushing forward with their $1.9 trillion stimulus plan, with or without Republicans. Joining me now to talk about the economic implications of this rescue plan, the former director of the OMB under President Trump, Russ Vought. He's also the president of the brand new Center for American Restoration. Russ, thank you for taking time on Saturday. I want to ask you about the new project. But first, your reaction, sir, on this $2 trillion stimulus and really the broader economic implications of this Biden agenda.
Thanks, Griff. It's very concerning in that the cost of this package and whether it's good for the economy right now. You have advisors on the left and on the right saying that the economy right now is on the brink of inflation, and this is something that is probably not going to get the economy growing, but it actually lead to a worse and an adverse reaction. So it's something we can't afford, and I'm hoping that the Senate will say no to it.
When it appeared there was some effort on the administration for bipartisanship, you had the 10 GOP senators going to the White House. They were asking for $600 billion. Looks like it's going to be go it all alone Democrat partisan path forward for the nearly $2 trillion. Was there a missed opportunity here to perhaps not go so big?
I think so. I mean, you had a good number of senators that were willing to go forward and do something more, much more restrained, $600 billion. There's still $1 trillion that has not been spent. Schools have not been reopened. The school money that's already been appropriated has not been spent, has not been sent out. And as a result, why is it that they are so insistent on getting another $170 billion chunk of school funding before they allow the schools to be opened up and have CDC guidance along those lines? So, look, this is a very expensive package. We could be sitting on a tinderbox from the standpoint of inflation. This is not wise. And you're seeing that from Larry Summers, who was a former Treasury Secretary on the Democratic side.
Well, Brian Deese, the economic advisor, was asked about the Summers prediction and, of course, obviously the concern of inflation. But Deese says, look, give us some time. We're considering all these things. Do you believe there is still time that the administration gets it right?
Not if they continue to not take the bipartisan pushback that they're seeing, in the sense of, you have Larry Summers, you have Republican senators. This is a party line vote, and there's members within the Republican Party that are some very centrist and are not willing to go forward with this particular package. They are not seemingly to be receptive to taking any feedback. I don't think that they're going to be able to figure it out, and I think that they're moving forward with many bad policies on the economic front. They're redeclaring the war on energy. They're trying to raise regulations and starve the deregulatory agenda from the last administration. So I think there's a lot of storm clouds on the economic horizon.
All right, speaking of the economic horizon, let's look at the deficit spending under the Trump administration. You see, now we'll set aside 2020 because COVID and the unprecedented moment, but if you look really from 2017, 18, and 19, you can see the numbers. The deficit increasing from 2018 to 2019, a 26% increase, almost $1 trillion. That was under you. So is it too convenient to blame deficit spending when you're not the party in power?
Not at all. President Trump put forward more spending reductions and savings than any president in history in terms of our presidential budgets. Congress ignored them and didn't pass the spending reforms that were needed. In terms of the priorities of the country, the president said, we're going to get the economy going and pass a big tax cut that would have paid for itself over time. And unfortunately, we've had a setback because of the pandemic. But look, you don't address spending and fiscal responsibility when you are in a situation where the economy is not growing. We were addressing the needs of the country in a prioritized fashion, and unfortunately Congress was unwilling to work with us, and we're seeing the result of that now, which is increased debt and deficits.
Yeah. Russ, we're just out of time, but I do want to give you a second. What is the Center for American Restoration? What's your project doing?
You bet. We're going to be continuing the fight on the America First agenda to make sure that these cultural fights that the president has brought to the attention of the American people, and there's a movement behind, that we don't turn the page and go back to where we were 4 or 5 years ago. And we believe it's important to restore a consensus in this country about what America is all about.
Russ Vought, former OMB director and now new head of Center for American Restoration. Russ, thank you very much.